hope that you're all doing well, inshallah. I am doing very well, thank you very much. So today I am going to be telling you about my delivery story. So here we go. So we are going to be telling you, I am going to be telling you how this, my little mini, came into this world. So let's get straight into it. So basically it was the 17th of March. I was due on the 2nd of April. On the 17th of March I had turned 38 weeks. And yeah, I only had about 2 weeks left. And I woke up in the morning around 5:30 and I was leaking and I was really wet. Now, people who have been pregnant will know that obviously when you've got your bump and things, they do say wear maternity knickers and things like that, but they can even become really uncomfortable. So I used to generally sleep with just like a long top on, a really loose top, and then just go to sleep like that. Because when you have knickers on as well, especially when you've got like so much weight around there, when you sit down, the weight on it, especially like where your stomach sits on your thighs, you can become really sweaty and uncomfortable, and it's not nice. So I just used to sleep like that. So when I woke up, I was all like wet. So I went to the toilet, I wiped myself, and I put a towel between my legs and went back to sleep. 7:30, I woke up, and this was in the morning, obviously, and I needed the toilet. So I went to the toilet, and I am one of those people that I always have my phone near me. At home, generally speaking, I'm always in my dressing gown, so it'll be in my pocket. If not, it will be 98% of the time somewhere within like reaching distance, and it's mostly always on loud. So it's a good thing I always have my phone with me. So this day, when I was sat in the toilet, I was playing on my phone because I had a stomachache and I didn't know if it was maybe because it was something that I'd eaten, or if I was actually going into labour, if things were actually beginning to take their course. So I was sat on my phone, just playing away, and then I felt like this really big, it was like a bit of a weight come down from inside me. Inside the toilet, obviously. So I was a bit like, oh no, what's that? So I got up and I went to go and wipe myself, and there was like blood everywhere, like I'd leaked blood everywhere. And obviously I got a bit worried because I was thinking, oh, has something happened here? Is Rayhan okay? Is it something I really need to get checked? So what I did was I rang the hospital and I spoke to one of the midwives, and she said to me, is it a wipeable blood? As in, is it like just a stain of blood on the tissue, or is it something more than that? And I said to her, look, I do have light periods and they only last for like 3 days, but it's not a wipeable blood, as in like if you were coming towards the end of your period. It's like that sort of blood when you're on your period, but it's constantly coming out. So she said what you need to do is come into hospital and we need to check you over and make sure everything's okay. Now, I was actually due to pack my hospital bag on the Sunday, so the 18th of March, which is also my dad's birthday. So my friend Shazana, she was going to come to my house and we were going to pack my hospital bag, just because like I think it's one of those things, it's kind of memorable. Oh yeah, when I packed my hospital bag, especially the first time, you want it to be memorable. So we'd organised to come and do it together and spend the day together, and also I'd had what now is the living room done up, and in that room that week I'd had like the cot put together, the sofas put together, the table put together and all that sort of stuff, but they weren't actually in their place. They were just kind of like in the room, like just put together. So basically what happened was that I wasn't really organised to go into labour this day. So I went to the hospital, and in my bag really I just took my normal handbag, but I put like an extra pair of underwear in, like 2 pairs, and my pyjamas. And because like even if you walk from my house to hospital, it's only about 10 minutes. So I thought, look, if worst comes to worst and I do stay in, it won't be a big deal if somebody does come to my house to get my stuff, because I'll just let them know where things are. So I rang my grandma just before I set off, and she lives in Yorkshire, and I told her that I think I'm actually going to be going into labour, possibly having Rayhan today, so she wanted to make a way to come down. So she said I'll be making my way, so she came down on the bus, and I was also ringing one of my aunties to basically let her know that I was going into labour, because she said when you do, let me know and I'll come down and I'll be with you. because she's like a nursery nurse and things as well, so like she knows a lot to do with babies and things, and like little children, so I kind of like trusted her. So she wasn't picking the phone up, but because she was asleep, obviously, like, you don't really have a time where, or a day where you expect someone to ring you and say, I'm going into hospital. So I went into hospital, and then I just laid there. I just had like my normal bag with a few extra things, my charger and things like that. And they said, like, can you try and do a wee for us? And I said, I'm really struggling. The only thing that's coming out of me is blood at the moment. She said try anyway, just so that we can check it through. And then I went and laid on the bed, and they gave me toast and orange juice and also tea. I couldn't really like take the toast down because obviously toast is a bit dry even if you put margarine on it. And coffees and things like that I don't generally drink at all, although when I was pregnant I used to have them more often at work, so about 2 coffees a day. But before that I never used to have hot drinks, and when I do have hot drinks I have to wait until they're warm. I can't have them like hot, forget boiling hot, I can't have them hot, they have to be warm for me to drink them. So what they said was like we need to do like an internal check. Now prior to this I'd had a placenta check where they put like a rod up your vagina and just check that your placenta isn't covering something else, I don't know, so that basically it doesn't create complications when you are giving birth. Now due to a few things in my history I am very, very like delicate, and I'm very sensitive about people touching me there, and I can go into panic attacks and things like that, which I did on my placenta check because they hadn't passed the notes on to basically tell them the sensitivity of what they were going to do. So when I went in I was having a panic attack and they didn't understand why, so then I told them and I said, have the notes not been passed on? And they said no. So then they went and found the notes and they apologised, said that the doctor did pass the notes on, but the person that they've sent the notes to wasn't the person who's actually doing the placenta check. So for them to do this internal check it took about 40 minutes. Now they either do it with a rod or with their hands, obviously with gloves on, and I didn't want the rod again, and because I didn't know how it felt, the hands, I was like, yeah, just do it with your hands. But it still took me about 40 minutes to come around to actually having the internal check. I was panicking and I was like crying, and I just said to the assistant who was looking after me since I went in, I'd become quite close to her, as in just some nurses, they'd just be nice to you when like you're having your bloods done, just so that you have your bloods done, but this woman was generally nice, so like I really liked her. So I said to her, look, I'm going to have to hold your hands, so I'm going to like have to hold your hands and I'll probably end up like near enough taking them off. That's how scared I am. She said, look, we need to do this, so no matter how much pressure you put on my hands or whatever, just let us do it, because obviously we need to do it to know what's going on. Because I had the contraction belt on, but I wasn't actually having contractions. So the nurse did the internal check and I went, ah! Like that. Like, I'm trying to, I know that was loud, but it was even louder than that. I'm just trying to not make it too loud because your family members might think, what the hell are you watching? But yeah, I screamed at the top of my voice, and I like near enough like digged my nails into that assistant's hands as well. And like she was trying to like, obviously they can't have too much like one-on-one like touchy feeling, but she was like touching my head like and rubbing my hand like, look, it's okay. So yeah, they did the internal check and they said, look, you weren't really in labour, but your waters have broken now. So what we're going to do is we're going to move you into another room, because this is like just like an assessment room. So I said, okay, that's fine. So they went to go and get like the paperwork together and get the room ready and things like that for me to go into. And then she said, right, like, we'll go now, so we're going to move you. So I sat up and there's like poo everywhere. And I'm like, what's going on here? Funnily enough, on my last day of work, like 2 days before, one of my colleagues has said to me, look, do you know sometimes a baby can poo? And if they do, that can obviously be a bit kind of important that you get that sorted out. I'll just be back. Rayhan's whinging. One moment. I said to her, like, is this like him having pooed inside me? And she said, look, yeah, he has. So we need to kind of go on and try and get this labour as safe as possible. So they cleaned all that up and everything, and then I got into the hospital gown because I was still in my own clothes until like this point, because I wasn't officially in labour, so I wasn't officially staying in the hospital. But once they've done the check, yeah, I was going into labour, my contractions were starting, and yes, I was then obviously to the point of where I was staying in hospital. I wasn't going back home and then coming back obviously when my contractions got worse or whatever. So I went into the other room, and then this, I don't know how you say it, I think it's anaesthetist. He came, and obviously he was going to shove a few needles in me here, there and everywhere. And I am the worst person with needles. They even wanted to bring me in a bit earlier and induce me or whatever, but because I was that terrified of needles and they'd seen it all across my pregnancy, I used to cry like a baby. And plus they struggled to find my vein, so it's even worse. So even if they tried to put numbing cream on me, by the time it comes to taking my bloods, they'd struggle to find that vein again. And even when they used to put that blue strap and things, which they do sometimes just to pump your blood and bring your veins up, that didn't even used to work. So I'll end up having panic attacks and I'll start crying my head off, and like I'll avoid it and avoid it and avoid it. So like basically like I started crying and this started happening. So he said to me that what I'll do is I'll put a butterfly needle inside you first. We take these bloods just to check that you're okay otherwise, and then I'll put the real needle in, so just so that it's a bit of a build up rather than just shoving a needle in you. So I became a bit comfortable with that. And plus he was one of those, you could tell like he was a soft person anyway. He wasn't just trying to be like nice just because he was taking my bloods or anything like that, because I will tell like a nurse or a doctor or whatever if they are doing that. I'm a bit of a cow about that. I'll say to him, you only be nice because you want to take my bloods. You only be nice because you want to shove a needle in me, and I'll be a right bum about it. So yeah, he did what he needed to do. So initially they were just checking that I was okay otherwise, and then what happened was they put the belt on me and I was having contractions. And by this time, my auntie had rang me back, and then she made her way to the hospital. So my grandma had come and then my auntie came. So they were there, and they said that basically we know that the baby's already distressed, well, stressed, whatever the word is, because he has pooed inside her basically. And what we need to do now is obviously be careful and watch the monitor quite closely. So our contractions were going on. In regards to his heartbeat, it was like going up and it would dip, but it wasn't dipping that much, so they were just keeping an eye on it. And then what happened was his heartbeat started going dramatically down. Now a baby's heartbeat is supposed to be around 150. His heartbeat went down to at the end 90. So it went down to 90. So what they did was they put another drip on me just to speed my contractions up. And then it came to a point that it dropped so much and it was dropping so rapidly that the nurse said, look, we need you to sit down. We need you to lay down back on the bed, but I need to go and speak to a doctor. But they didn't say what it was about at this point. But then my auntie was watching the monitor and she looked a bit concerned, but because I was having my contractions, at this point I was still like laughing, joking, talking to everyone. And then as soon as this guy put this needle on me, I was like, effing this, effing that. I was like, Grandma, don't mind me, I'm going to be saying some disgusting swear words today, and I don't beep care. And she's like, it's alright love, you're allowed to do that today, you're allowed to swear as much as you want, I'm not going to mind. I said, Grandma, even if it's disgusting. She's like, I should just get through what you need to. And then my auntie was sat next to me, and I was like, what's going on kind of thing. And she was like, she didn't want to tell me until obviously it was confirmed by someone professional. So she came in, so one of the nurses came in and said, look, I just need to speak to a doctor and I'm going to come back with him. So like 2 doctors came and like 3 nurses came back. And at this point I was kind of like out of it because I was that high on the gas and air. I didn't know what was going on, but I was like kind of high. And basically what they said to me was, Aisha, you need to make a decision within 5 minutes. You are either going to have another internal check, or you're going to have a cesarean section. Obviously I didn't want the internal check again. The first one was worse enough, and then I didn't want a cesarean section, and I was crying. I was like, I've avoided cesarean section, I really wanted a natural birth, blah 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 blah. I think everybody wants that, but I was like, are you really going to put me through this? And then my auntie was like, Aisha, look, think about it. And then my grandma didn't know what was going on really, so my auntie went and spoke to my grandma. Then my grandma was like, Aisha, come on love, you need to make a decision. You want Rayhan to come out healthy, and obviously you don't want any more complications, you don't want things to become worse, so Aisha, just compose yourself for a moment and just think about what you want to do. And then my auntie said, and my grandma said, look, I think you should take her in for a cesarean section. There is no way on this earth she's going to let you do another internal check. So, yeah, basically they came to the conclusion that, yeah, well, we're going to have to do a cesarean. Yeah, my auntie came in with me because basically it was really, really funny because I'm on 3 and my auntie is on either Vodafone or O2 or something, and we could not get a signal anywhere. And my grandma is on Talk, like new with mobile signal and like having mobile contracts and things. And my grandma could get signal and we could not get signal. Like networks that be going on for years and years and years, like the biggest famous networks, we couldn't get signal. And there was my grandma with her phone, which isn't like a proper smartphone. It is a smartphone, but not like one of the newer ones. And she's there with signal, her phone's like buzzing left, right, centre. So we said to my grandma that because everyone like in family's messaging you like, shall my auntie come? And she said, to be honest, that's better because I don't want anybody worried, because my mum had told her that, look, my grandma had told him that there's a few complications going on. So my auntie came inside with me and she got to wear this like visitor like costume, like a uniform. So do you like how like surgeons and stuff wear like a short sleeved like blousey shirty thing, and then like loose trousers? She had them on basically. It was like a brown colour, and then she had like the hat on like people who do operations wear. And what happened was they sat me up on a bed. Obviously they go through the cesarean criteria and what happens and get you to sign it to basically give your permission that you're happy with, obviously not happy, but you're okay with having a cesarean, because obviously that's what is required. So they said to me that we're going to put a few needles inside you, inside your back, so that it'll basically numb you. So that what that needle does is, I think there's about 3 or 4 between like your breast area and like the bottom of your stomach or your stomach. It'll basically numb half of your stomach downwards until your legs, until your feet even, so that you can't feel anything. And what they do is they put like a screen from like your breasts. They'll put a screen where your breasts are so that you can't see the rest of your body and obviously what they're doing. And then my auntie was sat on the right side of me, and she was just like rubbing my head, because I'm one of those, because I've never had an operation, I was thinking, what about if my body actually wakes up and it doesn't actually numb and I can feel the cut and everything like that. So she was there like just like saying like, look Aisha, he's going to be here soon, you don't need to worry anymore, and things like that, just comforting me. So what happened was, when they do the needles, the surgeons or whatever are behind you, and like they have people in front of you like comforting you. And what happened was I was there like crying, saying, oh but I don't want to have a cesarean section, this, that and the other. And the lady's like, well, you don't have to, you do. Like, she was really abrupt, she was not nice, and she was like, well, you don't have to, but we've given you a choice and you've decided to have a cesarean section, so if you don't want it, we won't do it, but then you're going to need to have an internal check. I was like, alright then. But then I was really angry because then a contraction had started as she said it, and I'm like, listen, I want my baby to be alive and I want him to come out. Don't give me that attitude. Move away from me if you're going to act like that towards me. I don't even want you in front of me or even dealing with my cesarean section if you're going to have that attitude. Be a bit more like sensitive about it. I was like really annoyed at her. So she kind of like took a step back. And then he'd put like 1 needle inside me and did whatever. And then as he was putting the second one, like I had a contraction. So I went from sitting like just upright, because they have to like get the back properly, to going but like as I tensed, she was like, stay still. I said, look, I think I'm having a contraction. So I was like like that, and he said, look, tell me when your contraction's finished. So I went from like I'm gonna kill you to like, and then he said, has your contraction finished? I said, yeah. So then he went for it. So he managed, before I had another contraction, to have the needle in. So it was numbing me by then, so I didn't really have any proper contractions after that. I had 2, and then once he'd like put all the needles in, I didn't really have contractions after that. So they did what they did. Then I laid down like about, I don't know how long after, I can't even remember now, once everything had numbed. And they help you because obviously you can't feel anything to know if your foot's on the actual bed. So they did that. Then obviously we had the cesarean section. So basically, yeah, they have like a screen in the middle so you can't see anything. Then they cut you open. Now, where they cut me open was very, very, very low. It was literally at the bottom of my stomach. So I'll just show you. So this is my body now, for example. So obviously you can see this is like where my hips are. So, and this is where my stomach ends, like here. I don't know if I can show you sideways, but here, like right there at the bottom underneath, they had cut me. Sometimes people do have the cut actually on their stomach, like on their stomach, but I had it underneath. And obviously Rayhan came out, then my auntie like held him. They went and cleaned him up, then my auntie held him. Then we came out and they put you like in a recovery area. Rayhan had to go onto like a machine because he was really, really cold, and I had to have like 2-3 heating blankets on me because I was really, 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 really cold. And then at this point you are still numb, so you can't really still feel anything, but obviously they can feel the fact that you're really cold. So then my grandma was saying, oh, they're saying congratulations and everything. And I was alright, I was kind of like my normal self, as in talking wise and everything by now. And then what happened was they put you in the recovery area, and then I was in there a bit longer because I had to wait for Rayhan to become warmer. So yeah, we were in there for quite a while. And then basically what happened was I went on to the ward and I stayed in for about 5 days, because basically when you have a baby or when you're in labour or whatever, you're supposed to lose 500 whatever amount of blood, and I lost 800. So hence why I ended up staying in longer. And also Rayhan was jaundiced, so it's like where your complexion of your skin isn't even and like you're a bit more greener or bluer. So they put you like in an incubator, which is basically loads of lights, and they cover the baby's eyes so that basically their blood can travel around the body more, so that their complexion becomes a bit more even. As you can hear, Rayhan is having a little whinge, so I'll be back. Then I came out of hospital, and it used to be after 10 days, if you've had a cesarean section, your midwife will come and take the bandage off, but now they have changed it to 12 days. So on the 12th day I had my bandage taken off, because once they've stitched you they also put a bandage there just in case you leak. So on the 12th day she came and she went to take my bandage off, then I was leaking, so she rang my doctors, and she said that basically it can be that where you've been cut and things, it's infected, you've got an infection. So she rang my doctors, and they said like, we've got an appointment in about 15 minutes, can she come? And I was all stressed because I was in my pyjamas and everything, and my doctors isn't local, so yeah, I was being a bit of a stress head like always. So I went to my doctors, and then the doctor was so like angry and like abrupt. Is like, well, we don't have a treatment room here, so we can't do anything about it. I can give you antibiotics, but it's up to your midwife to sort it out. I said, look, I'm leaking a lot, and there is a treatment room here, and yeah, you might not generally do it, but I've got a big leak, and that's why I've been sent here so quickly. So he did refer me to the treatment room. This was around 2:30. So he rang down and he said that, do you have any spaces? And they said, oh, what is it for? So he told them, and said, oh, just send her down right now and we'll sort it out. You'd think that they'd see you near enough straight away. No. 4:30, 2 hours later I was sat there. Then I got taken to the treatment room, and she pulled my leggings down and she said, Aisha, I've taken out 80-90 millilitres of liquid here. I can't just bandage it like that. You're going to have to go back into hospital. So I was like, oh yeah, great, fantabulous. She goes, did you not feel? I said, I thought I was just sweating, because it's quite high up, the treatment room in the health centre. I thought that I was just like sweating or something like that. And she was like, no, like you are actually leaking. So what happened was basically I got referred into hospital, and I ended up staying in for like I think 2 days or something. And yeah, somebody else looked after Rayhan whilst I was in hospital. So yeah, basically that was like my delivery story, and then after that I was okay. I had to keep going to have my stitches removed because most of them weren't coming out, they're just like staying there. So that is my delivery story. I hope that you guys enjoyed it, and I hope that I didn't talk too much because I am good at doing that. Over my next few videos, it'll be about like the hijab, dressing modestly, wearing modest clothes, how to try and be modest living in the country that we live in, and things like that. Hopefully I'll try and be obviously as informative as possible. I'm not going to be, oh yes, well you should cover up and you should never show your ankles and you should never wear leggings or anything like that. I think sometimes you need to find a balance. So them few videos will be interesting. So I will see you on the next one. Lots of love as always. Way. Take care of yourselves. Bye bye. Allah Hafiz.